Well, hey, Zack Snyder's back doing a big action movie that's neither an adaptation of material he's almost comically unsuited for or connected to the fallout from the failure thereof, and also an idiotic internet culture war that on its own feels like something to celebrate regardless of whether or not the movie is good, which it is for the most part, even while also being much too long, tonally all over the place, and even worse at knowing how to end than a Saturday Night Live sketch because look who we're talking about. Point is, nature is healing.
You know, I saw a pod of whales when I was coming over the bridge.
Actually, point is, Snyder is back pointing his camera in very specific John Boorman by way of John Milius for audiences who don't know either of those references camera at a pure genre movie that takes an oddly large post-2010 genre of disgruntled veterans reuniting to do a heist and asks, what if we also put zombies in there so they can also shoot just tons of people, but nobody has to feel bad about enjoying that part. The result feels almost as cathartic to watch as one gets the sense it was to make for the filmmaker who's been forced to spend the last half-decade of his career, amid personal tragedy to boot, being yanked back and forth creatively between the chaotic floundering of Warner Brothers' DC Cinematic Universe disasters and the frothing fanbase for the same, taking a pile of Netflix's seemingly bottomless money pile to find a few dozen new ways to explode the undead or as good a way as any for a director who's always been at his best when action and violent consequences get to do the talking to work some stuff out. And Army of the Dead lets you know we're in a filmmaker's playground territory right off by setting itself entirely within a walled-off zombie-infested Las Vegas, aka City of a Thousand Cheap Metaphors, our setup being that several years prior some zombie-infected government experiment-type super zombie got loose in the desert leading to an outbreak on the Vegas Strip. The military managed to contain it and seal it up entirely within Sin City, and now it's just a matter of time before a small-yield nuke is launched to finish off the horde of undead for good. But before that, a billionaire casino owner wants to grab the millions in cash still sealed up in his vault inside the city, but not legally, so he can, keep the insurance payout he already got for the loss. How is he pre-insured against a zombie apocalypse, I'd like to know? And the contract goes out to Dave Bautista as a former army zombie-fighting ace who quit doing hero stuff because, look, it's a zombie movie. Take a wild guess what he's sad about. Who needs the payout to maybe reconnect with his estranged daughter? See, told ya. So he reforms the still-living members of his old team, plus some colorful extra zombie chow, and we're off to the races. And you know how this is gonna go. Everyone on the team has their own needs and interests. There's more going on than meets the eye. People are lying. Batista's daughter ends up coming along for altruistic reasons that generate moral conflict. Stuff comes to the surface. Surprise friend and enemy pairings emerge. People do betrayals. Meet ironic ends. These kind of movies are cocktails. You're paying for the quality and the technique. You already know the ingredients when you ordered it. To continue the metaphor, the garnish twist this time is that the zombies come in two flavors. Regular shambling cannon fodder variety and also alpha zombies spawned by the original, who we're informed can think, organize, and use weapons, which basically means they act like the orcs from Lord of the Rings more so than zombies, which in context is frankly pretty cool. There's a lot getting thrown around here regardless of the simple setup, to the point where they start bringing up stuff that sounds like clearly big set piece teases, zombies being affected by the weather or rain, the actual extent to which the alphas have managed a kingdom society for themselves, that don't actually turn into anything, but we do get some memorable business involving a zombie horse and a zombie tiger that they say is the last of Siegfried and Roy's troop, so there is that. Otherwise, we're mostly watching actors at various levels of in-on-the-jokeness mug and shoot their way through the live-action version of a Call of Duty zombie map with an extraction component, and for the most part it works. In relative proportion to when the material best aligns with Snyder's strengths. Big shootouts and brawls, messy violent zombie dismemberment, hyper-literal mythic and pop culture allusions, good. Human drama, not so good, which conspires to make the final stretch feel a lot more of a drag than it needs to be when the lead-up has otherwise worked so well, and a lot of the problem is simple and balanced. There's just no need for this to be this long. Something like this is either a 90-minute quick-and-done movie or a sprawling TV miniseries, not an overlong movie in between. So there's far too many tangential threads to it, and it just seems to completely lose track of at least one major character's fate in the third act. Still, when it's working, it's really working, and you can put a lot of that on the cast and Snyder's own keen eye for character iconography when it comes to casting. Bautista is built for this kind of outsized but soft-spoken human battering ram part, obviously, and he once again brings a lot of humanity to the role, and much digital ink has already been spilled about the post-production casting coup of replacing a male pilot character, originally played by a different actor, with comedian Tig Notaro, who throws herself into the sarcastic, cigar-chomping retro action pot so matter-of-factly one could easily imagine her getting tapped for full-on action leads based on this. She's really good at this. I'm not even fucking around. I know people think, oh, well, this is some stunt casting. No, this feels like Snyder once again went out and found the character actor that Hollywood didn't know they needed. The hell if I know if she wants this career, but hand her some fatigues and some unironic tough guy dialogue and Notaro turns into Jerry Bruckheimer's Joan of Arc. Who knew? That also goes for Nora Arzenader as a smuggler, Ana de la Reguera as Batista's right-hand woman, and Samantha Wynn as a gunfighter. If nothing else, let it not be said, Zack Snyder has lost his touch as one of Hollywood's more reliable sources for solid and diverse action heroines. I wish it all held together better than it ultimately does, though. A tighter version with fewer digressions and a better sense of through line, or maybe just less slack from the whole what even is pacing anymore Netflix production mindset would probably have left one feeling genuinely pumped rather than merely satisfied. But then again, most things can't even manage that these days, and while I'm overall mostly in inclined to see Snyder do anything that'll both satisfy him creatively and keep him from making any more Justice League movies. If he wants to keep playing with zombies for a while, that sounds fine too. 7 out of 10, a lot of fun to be had here.
Why would I want to know the risks?